Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
Good to see so many of you here at St George's Park for today's UEFA Euro 2025 squad announcement, a month from our opening game in the tournament. And we'll take questions from the floor. Anton, we'll begin with yourself.
Hi, Sarina.
Hi.
Nice to see you. You're smiling.
Yeah.
How difficult a squad was this to pick?
Of course, it's always difficult because you have, you can pick 23 and you would like to pick a little more because players have been in the environment that have done well. But at the end, you have to make those decisions, which is for some players, for 23 players, very good, and for some players, disappointing. But yeah, we've had the whole process. We've seen the team, of course, a lot over the last week and the last months. So yeah, it's done now.
Obviously, this is the first time we spoke to you since Millie Bright announced that she wouldn't be part of it. When did you find out, and what was your reaction?
Yeah, of course, the last couple of days I found out. We were in conversations, and it's sad, it's disappointing. And what I said last week too, of course, it's not nice when you don't feel well physically, mentally, and I just hope she feels well very soon.
How difficult has it been? Obviously, you weren't going to take Fran, but obviously you wanted to take Mary. I presume you wanted to take Millie. How much of a loss are those two players, and how difficult is it to replace them?
Yeah, of course they've done so much for us, so much for England. England football have been playing the tournaments since I've been here. So that's hard to replace. But there's also other players who've done really well, and those players get now the opportunity to step up and to show. So you have to move on too.
Lauren James is in the squad. How fit is she, and how much of a risk is it that she's going out?
Yeah, it's not a risk. Of course, we have some time. We still have a month. She's training really well at club, and doing. She's at the point where we hoped she would be at this stage, and she keeps progressing. And hopefully, when she comes into camp, she can go into training with us and keep progressing towards the first game on the 5th of July. So we don't see it as a risk. We're just building her.
Michelle Aguimang, she's in. How excited are you to bring her in, and why has she been picked? Why? Because obviously you've got 7 forwards in the list.
Yeah.
That seems like a lot.
Yeah, you wanted 10 the other day. But I think she brings something different. I think we're really strong up front. And also we have so many different qualities with the players we picked. And what she showed when necessary, so much physicality, and of course we all still remember her first goal for us against Belgium. I think that's good to have in the team.
Finally, only five midfielders, and George Stanway's only played an hour football this year. Is the midfield a little light? Would you like to have more players and more experience in that midfield?
Yeah, of course we have to announce it as all midfielders and strikers and defenders. I think we can move around when we move around some players in different positions. So on this paper it looks like we're not so in depth, but I think in the team we are enough in depth in midfield.
Thank you.
Thanks, Anton. Back to Emma. Thank you.
Hi, Sarina. The hard bit's out of the way. I just want to ask how you are really, because we've been talking about these players, leaving the squad. You've had some really difficult conversations, difficult decisions. So how are you?
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, I'm good. Of course, that's part of the job too. That's the main part of the job. Make decisions, who to select, who to play during games, who to sub, and things like that. And yes, those hard conversations are not nice because I know what players do and how hard they work to make the squad. And have also great behaviors from players and supportive to the team. So that's very hard then to give them this very disappointing message. But at the same time, I also had very nice messages to give. So that gives me some more energy too. And now that's done, I can move forward too. And I'm really excited about the team and that the Euros are so close now.
You were just talking about Michelle and obviously her being in the squad. Is she a bit of a wild card that you can bring on off the bench? She's quite unknown to a lot of the other teams.
Yeah, I think so. And we'll see what she can bring. And I've seen that, of course, in training sessions and what she did in Belgium. She brings something different, and I hope she can show that in the summer.
Thanks, Sarina.
Go to Tom. Thanks.
Hi, Sarina. It's a 23-player squad, and this time last year, the men's head coaches were naming 26-player squad. So just wondering how disappointed you are with that, if at all, like that there's that discrepancy between the two competitions.
You want to have that equal, if you talk about equality, but I'm happy with the 23 players. I think then you can make, like, for every position, you can have 2 players. I think what the rule now is that when a goalkeeper gets injured, you have an opportunity to bring in another goalkeeper during the Euros. I would hope that the UEFA will change that rule, that if there are injuries and players have to go out, that you have the opportunity to bring in another player. That for me, that would be a very good solution. But I don't have to go with 26 players. You can only start with 11, and if you're not gonna play a full tournament with 11 players and make that. You need the whole squad, but 26 is a lot.
Thank you. And could I ask about Millie with her news? Obviously, we wish her well. Will you and Sonia Bonpasta, her club manager, maybe together reflect on whether or not there were any opportunities that could have been taken to give her a rest over the course of the last season? Because she's clearly physically and mentally drained. And have there been chances missed to give her a breather over the course of the campaign?
Yeah, of course. But we are in conversations. I think what we all try to do, of course, perform at the highest level, and then recover and do that again. And that's what Chelsea is in. So when you go at the end of the season, you have only big games, and the players want to be involved in those games too. And where you can, you manage some minutes. That's what Sonia has been doing, and that's what we have been doing too. And then what we're trying to do also is give all the support outside of the pitch, and then you hope that players stay in a good place. And unfortunately, at this moment, that's not the case for Millie.
Compared to 3 years ago when you won the title, there's been obviously quite a lot of retirements. I'm not just talking about Mary and Fran, but obviously Rachel as well, Ellen, Jill, and so on. And I'm wondering whether you would agree that this is a less experienced squad than what you had when you won the tournament 3 years ago.
Well, when I came in, the team was very. There were many players, very experienced. But I do think we have enough experience in the team. There's about 16 players who have played a major tournament. Also, with playing at such a high level, a club that you are experienced with having media around, playing for big crowds. So I don't think that's a problem. I think the experience is enough. The balance with very young. They're not all very young. With players that are coming in and playing their first tournament, they're so eager too. So I think that balance and those dynamics are pretty good in our team.
Thanks. Go to Luke.
Hi, Sarina. Nice to see you. You've obviously gone into a lot of international tournaments as a manager. Have you ever known one as disruptive and as with so much upheaval as this one before?
Well, my experience is before major tournament, there's always noise. So we expect noise until we go into the tournament, and probably stays. The difference is that in 2017, I went to my first tournament as assistant coach, 2015, and now the attention and the visibility of the women's game has increased so much. So it sounds, and that's more noise, but there's just more journalists here and that write and show what we are doing. So that's a lot more. But we just have to deal with it and move on and focus on football.
From the outside looking in, there are words like crisis being used and turmoil, and like I've said, upheaval. Like you say, there's a lot of noise. What can you say to reassure us in the media and the public that it is a happy group, that is a motivated group, and it's a group that's together?
Yeah, I think. I think you see parts of it. You're not in our environment all the time, and I can assure you that the training sessions have been really good last week. What you could see in Portugal, I thought it was a very, very energetic game, and a good game. And you saw all these connections. And I think Spain was 2 halves. So the first half I thought we played really well. Second half we were struggling a little bit, but you couldn't see that. Yeah, I didn't see anything that there was no connections within the team. So yeah, that's for me, like having had conversations, lots of football conversations, also in camp, seeing what happened off pitch and on pitch with the team. I'm really happy where we are right now.
And you find that your communication with your players has been fine, that there's been these accusations that you were too blunt or too honest. Do you have any regrets about the way you've communicated with your players, or you wouldn't change anything, presumably?
No, after I have conversations with players, I always review, okay, what went well. I think for me it's really important that I am honest, that I treat people in the right way. And sometimes you have very good news, and sometimes you don't have good news. And I don't go around the bush with that. I just give that message then, and then I can't always control how people respond on that. I just hope that they have the clarity when they can move on, and then afterwards with the staff team we can give some support.
Thank you.
Thanks, Luke. We'll go to Kit at the front, please. Thank you.
Hi, Sarina.
Hi.
You said that you would have wanted Mary in your team. All the players who've spoken to have said they'd have wanted Mary in the team. Was there any last-minute phone call to try and get her to reverse her decision?
No, that's done now. That was last week, so that's a week and a half ago. We've been speaking about that a lot, and those conversations were finished. And then, we went back to business and moved on with the team.
And just going back to Mary and Millie, I know they've got their own individual reasons for the decisions they've made, but how tough is it for you to process, I guess, that two figures that you've had so much success with and have been such an important part of your time as England manager are not here, not because of a conventional injury, but essentially because they're not prepared to play for the team?
Well, there's two different situations here. And it's just sad that they're not in the team, but at the same time, it gives opportunities for other players to be in the team, and they step up. And of course, I will always cherish what we have had. So that's a long period of time. We had such an incredible journey with lots of highs and, of course, a couple of lows too. That's part of football. It's part of life. And I will never ever forget that. But at this moment, this is the situation. We've moved on. This is the squad now. I'm very happy with my squad moving forward, and I'm really looking forward to the Euros.
Thanks.
Thanks, Kit. We'll go to Sandra, please.
Thanks. Hi, Sarina.
Hi.
I'm just following on from some of what you were saying there about just the journey you've been on, the differences you've seen as a manager. And some of what Millie was saying when she talks about being mentally and physically at her limit. I just wanted to ask you, what differences have you noticed in terms of how players are able to manage or handle just that kind of the fatigue that might come in between the intensity of a hectic season and going into a major tournament, particularly compared to the 2022 Euros to now, when obviously, as you mentioned, England's profile growing?
Yeah, I think... like what we say all the time, the level of the game has increased so much, so the demands on the players have increased very, very much on the pitch and off the pitch. That's nationally in the Women's Super League, all the games they play, but also internationally. But also with the Nations League started, the international games, the level and the demands on the international games have increased too. Then the attention around and the players are household names now. That's life changing, and that's very exciting. But at the same time, players are not robots. They have to deal with these things too and keeping up. So that's also why we're trying to support as good as possible on and off the pitch, and that's what we do. That's what the clubs do. And hopefully many players stay fit and healthy.
And just going back to what you were saying in terms of variety of forwards and of Michelle Adjiman being handed her first club to for a major tournament, what could you explain a bit more in terms of the differences you see amongst the forwards that you're taking?
I think with the forwards unit, I think we have goal scorers. We have players that are very technical. We have speed. We have players that can play in pockets or play more like in behind. And we have some players that bring a lot of power. That will be hard to choose, but you can make changes in the game or before a game where you can bring different things. I hope that's an answer on your question. That's what you meant with your question, didn't you?
Well, it's fine, yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Sandra. We'll go to Dom next to you. Thank you.
Hi, Sarina.
Hi.
In the press release, that the FA have sent around to confirm the squad. Honour, the word honour is mentioned in the first paragraph about the honour of representing the country. I was just wondering, in terms of when a player makes the decision to retire, can you understand where that decision comes from? Because international football is seen as the highest thing that you can do in football. Can you understand the player's process, or is it something that shocks you?
No, I think you should have a look at every individual situation. And I think at some points players think, okay, I've had such an incredible journey. Now it's time for other ones. I'm not picked that much, so it's time to move on. And I think that's a natural process too. Younger other players coming in, that also comes through the growth of the game. There's more players coming in at a higher level, and they start to compete. And that's what we hope too, that there's a natural development, a national how do I say that? A natural transition in moving forward. So, yeah, but I think you should have a look at every individual, and it's up to the players whether they want to stay available or not.
Okay, and this is picking up on something Luke had asked you, and I'm not making comparisons between the men and the women's game, but in a summer tournament when all the eyes of the country are watching your progress. For example, Jordan Pickford, John Stones and Jack Grealish had decided that they weren't going to make themselves.
So there is a comparison.
No, I'm just sort of making the point. You can understand where people will be looking at the situation and wondering whether there is any kind of crisis in the squad, whether it's unsettled. What would you do to say? What would you say to people that isn't the case?
That is not the case.
Right.
That's what I would say. Well, you can, we know what's happening in the team, and I think there's competition going on in the team, and I hope there's competition going on in the team. And I think that we're going with this 23 to the Euros now, and I feel very comfortable with this team. I'm very happy with the team, and I'm very excited, and I'm looking forward to it. And for me, it doesn't feel as a crisis at all.
That's good.
Thanks, Tom. We're just going front to Flo. Thank you.
Hi, Sarina. Just wanted to ask in relation to Millie, if you'd had conversations with her, obviously until she withdrew, about what her role was going to be at this tournament and whether she was going to be part of your starting 11.
Mm-hmm. Millie would be part of the squad. And of course, we've had conversations, as I have conversations with players all the time. And I'm not going to tell what the conversations are about. But as I have, it's the same with her, that with other players that I have conversations with.
Thank you.
Thanks. We'll go to Simon. Thank you.
Hi, Sarina. Just on Lauren, is the plan then and the hope that she'll be...
Lauren James.
Lauren James, is the hope that she'll be fit for that first game of the tournament?
Yeah, I hope she will be available for that first game in the tournament. I don't know for how many minutes yet. We need to see that. We still have that month. And she will be... she's building herself, and we're supporting in that. And we have that one friendly still against Jamaica, and I hope she'll make that one too.
And just on the sort of leadership group, I know in the past, obviously, Mary and Millie are both people who've captained the team. Is that changing now for this tournament? And who do you see sort of supporting Leah in that role of being the sort of leaders in the 23?
Yeah, we haven't had those conversations yet over the last year. That was we were in conversations the leadership group with Kira, Lucy, Millie, and Leah. So that's something we are going to discuss when we come into camp.
Thanks. We'll go to Tom.
I was going to ask about leadership, but when you won the Euros in 2022, the role of the bench was absolutely key in having that impact. Do you see the same sort of qualities in this squad and the same potential to have the same impact from the bench to change games?
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I'm happy with my squad. I think. Sorry.
Who are going to be in the sort of the Toon and Russo roles?
Well, then first I have to make up what the lineup is. Starting so nice try. But I don't know yet who the starting 11 are. And then, that will also develop over the tournament. Like in 22, I think you thought that I had all prepared that before the tournament. But things develop over the tournaments. And then you make decisions. And then it's, okay, who comes out to that game? What have we seen? And what do we need in the next game? So you can't prepare. I tried to prepare as much as possible, but you can't prepare everything. And I think, you stopped on leadership too. It's not always the leaders that you are visible. We've had many, many leaders that lead from in a different way, not very visible, but they have a huge impact on the team too.
At the World Cup, I think it was the China game where you went to 3 at the back, which was a bit of a surprise. Have you got any surprises in store for Switzerland? Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know yet if we have these surprises. Like before the World Cup, we had the conversation in April about, okay, what scenario could we have, and then we decided not to do. But in the tournament, we felt we had to do something different because if we kept doing the same thing, we kept having the same problems. We thought so. That's why we changed. So that's, again, we tried to prepare as much as possible in scenarios and what can we expect in the games or off the pitch. But then in the moment, you have to make the decisions and see what's needed. What do you think, what I with the staff think is needed to win the next game?
Thanks, Tom. We'll go across to Molly. Thanks.
Hi, Sarina.
Hi.
You talked earlier about kind of not beating around the bush when you have those conversations with players. Do you feel as though it's always better to get that out the way and maybe have a little bit more external noise now, and then the theory being that during the tournament, when you're in the games, there's less of that?
Yeah, you can't prevent the noise now because you're going to make decisions. So there will be noise. And I also can't control everything in what noise will come in the tournament. Of course, you're trying to prevent as much as possible to keep it quiet around the team in what you have in your control. And everything else you just have to solve in the team. What I always say to the team, like we know exactly where we want to go to, what we're working on, what our game plan is, how we want to play. So stick with us because we know every little detail because we are in our bubble. That's what I try to do.
Thanks. Go across to Dan.
Sarina, just a quick one on Hannah Hampton. What a huge tournament this is going to be for her. How impressed have you been with her resilience in life and her determination to be the number one wherever she has gone?
Yeah, I think she has worked very hard. Of course, she had a journey. She had a journey with us and had some setbacks and coming back. And I think she's a very impressive goalkeeper. And she knows now where she stands. And I hope she is, she's going to show in the Euros, and looking forward to that. And I think, of course, we have 2 other talented goalkeepers in our squad that make that goalkeeper team the 3.
Sarina, last time we were here building up to the Euros, it was obviously a very different feel. You just joined, it was a home tournament. How behind the scenes is this one compared for you within the team in terms of how confident you feel going into it?
Before every tournament, things are different. The team is changing, the game is changing, the location of the tournament is different. And to be honest, before every tournament, you have your doubts. I think that's completely normal because you know, if we all knew what was going to happen, then it would be very boring too. So what you just try to do is be as prepared as possible, have gone through all the scenarios and make sure that the players are fit and fresh to go, but myself too. And then you just go and you're going to work as hard as possible to make things happen.
Thanks. Any final questions from the floor? Tom, we'll finish with you then.
Thank you. Please, could I just ask a little bit about the standby selections? And I'm particularly wondering, with Missy Cairns having been in the team on Tuesday, how was that conversation? How was?
Yeah, of course, that was hard. That was really hard. I think we were happy with her performances coming in, and as you've seen too, I was really happy with the squad. But we also still had to manage some players in load building towards the Euros. So she got the opportunity to play, and then. Finalize the puzzle after that game, we came to this squad.
And it's not a out-and-out striker amongst the standby. Are you happy with that? That the forwards you've got, if you lose any, that you're okay in that.
Yeah,
in that position?
like now we have we train with some more players. I pick these players to train also because we have one more forward in the squad, and the American players are still in the competition. So the first week of training they won't be there.
Thank you.
Thanks.
One more. Sorry. We've asked you a lot. Sorry, it's me again.
Yeah.
We've asked you a lot about players who aren't going to be here.
I was going to. Where are the questions about the players who
I'm
are
going
in?
to say, do you want to get to the stage now where we are just talking about the 23 players, sorry, who have been selected for this squad, and not talking about players who aren't here?
I would appreciate that, but it's up to you. I'll give answers.
Okay, thank you.
Great. On that note, we'll end here. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
See you soon.
Is that your microphone?
Is that your microphone?
Should be. Is this anyone's? Yours, mate.
Yes, sorry.